You know, in today's world, we are just surrounded by smart devices. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. But here's the thing. Every single time we add a new connection, we're basically opening another door to potential cyber threats. So how do we possibly bring order to all this chaos? Well, today we're going to dive into a really powerful framework that's designed to secure the exact technology we rely on every single day. And the scale we're talking about here, it is just staggering. We're talking about billions with a B of Internet of Things or IoT devices. They're already out there, deployed across literally every industry you can think of, from our own homes to our hospitals. This has created a massive, interconnected network that is just growing by the second.
And that, of course, brings us to the central question, right? With billions of devices floating around online, who is actually making sure they're secure? Because all this connectivity is super convenient, no doubt, but it also creates these enormous and often invisible risks. Every single unsecured device is a potential doorway just waiting for an attack.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to get a handle on the risk. Then we'll break down this crucial 5-step blueprint from a group called NIST. After that, we'll look at how you actually build a digital fortress, apply all these ideas to the wild world of IoT, and finally, wrap up by learning from some pretty major cyber crises.
All right, let's set the stage. The convenience of having everything connected. I mean, from your watch all the way up to your city's power grid, it comes with a major trade-off. Cybersecurity threats are evolving at this incredible breakneck pace. And the simple truth is, the more connected we are, the more vulnerable we become.
So, how in the world do we manage all this risk? Well, that's where NIST comes in. That's the National Institute of Standards and Technology. And they've developed this really elegant and powerful framework. Think of it like a blueprint for any organization to build a solid, resilient defense against all kinds of cyber threats.
Okay, so the whole framework is built around 5 core functions, and they form this continuous cycle: identify, protect, detect, respond, and finally, recover. It's a super clear, logical way to manage cybersecurity risk. So let's jump in with the very first step.
First up, we have identify. Look, you can't protect what you don't even know you have. It's as simple as that. This step is all about taking inventory. It's about understanding your critical systems, your key assets, your important data. You have to know exactly what the crown jewels of your organization are before you can even begin to think about protecting them.
So once you know what you need to protect, you move on to step 2, protect. This is where you actually put the safeguards in place. If we think of your organization like a house, this step is all about installing the locks on the doors, putting a big safe in for your valuables, and setting up an alarm system. It's all about creating those proactive barriers to an attack.
But what happens if someone actually gets past the locks? Well, that's where detect comes in. This whole function is about spotting trouble the moment it happens. Think of these as your motion sensors in your security cameras, the systems that are going to alert you the second a potential breach occurs, not hours or even days later when it's too late.
Now, when that alarm goes off, you absolutely need a plan. That is the respond function. It's about taking immediate, well-rehearsed action to contain the threat and limit the damage as much as possible. Who do you call? What systems do you shut down? Having that plan ready to go is absolutely critical.
And finally, after the whole incident is contained, you have to recover. This last step is all about getting back to normal as quickly and as safely as you can. It means restoring systems from backups, repairing any damage. But maybe most importantly, it's about learning from what just happened to make your defenses even stronger for next time.
So that 5-step blueprint, it really gives us the what and the why of cybersecurity. But now, let's explore the how. How do you actually go about building a digital fortress? Well, it's all about using layered security controls. You see, a really strong defense isn't built on just a single wall. It's built in layers.
You need your technical controls, things like firewalls and encryption. You need administrative controls, like strong security policies and employee training. And you even need physical controls, like actual locks on the server room doors. All three of these have to work together perfectly to be effective.
Okay, so within all those layers, there's a really key question. Who gets access to what? This is all managed through something called access control models. For instance, some systems let the owner of the data decide who gets to see it. Others use a much stricter system-wide policy. A really common model you see in companies is role-based access control, or RBAC. It's simple. Your access is determined by your job function. That's it.
All right, let's take all these ideas now and apply them to the wild world of the Internet of Things. Because let me tell you, securing billions of these tiny, often low-power, connected devices, that presents a whole new set of really unique and complex challenges.
And this isn't some abstract problem. We are talking about the devices in our smart homes, life-saving medical equipment in our hospitals, the industrial systems that run our factories, and even the cars we drive. In these areas, strong cybersecurity isn't just about protecting data anymore. It's about protecting our safety and our lives.
So how do organizations even begin to secure all these devices? Well, they use a mix of strategies, like managing a device's security through its entire life cycle and constantly monitoring the network for any funny business. A really important modern approach is called zero trust, and the philosophy is super simple. Never trust, always verify. Every single user and every single device has to prove they are who they say they are before they get access to anything.
You know, theory and frameworks are great, but the toughest, most important lessons often come from real-world failures. Looking at high-profile security breaches is probably one of the most effective ways to truly understand why all these frameworks and controls are so incredibly vital. The Mirai botnet is a classic and, honestly, a terrifying example. This attack was so simple. It just scanned the internet for IoT devices, like cameras, routers, you name it, that were still using their default factory-set passwords. It then gathered them all into this massive botnet army and used them to take down huge parts of the internet. It was a brutal wake-up call for the entire industry. And the consequences of these attacks can actually cross over from the digital world right into our physical one. Stuxnet was a huge landmark case. This incredibly sophisticated worm didn't just steal data. It targeted industrial control systems and caused physical centrifuges to literally spin themselves to destruction. It proved for the very first time that a piece of code could cause real-world physical damage. It changed our understanding of cyber warfare forever.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that frameworks like NIST aren't just IT checklists. They are essential blueprints for protecting our critical infrastructure, our most sensitive data, and ultimately, they are the tools we need to build a digital world that is safer and more resilient for every single one of us.
And that leaves us with one final thought to take away. As we keep filling our lives with more and more of this amazing connected technology, it's really worth asking ourselves, are these devices, is our world being secured by design, or are we all just kind of crossing our fingers and hoping for the best?